Welcome. In this video, we are going to be talking about the sale of Alex Murdaugh's property. Remember, this is the property that was their home place where his wife Maggie and his son Paul were found murdered. He has since been charged with that murder, but the house is now under contract. Is there some sort of requirement under South Carolina law that they let people know that people have died at the property?
Yeah.
First, we're going to take a look at the murder indictment. Then we're going to head over to the website so that we can see this property. It is now under contract. And then we're going to look at South Carolina's law, the duty to disclose, what it says, what you have to do, what you don't have to do. All right, here is the indictment here. And let me pull it up so I can actually see it and don't have to squint. All right, so July term 2022. This is state of South Carolina, county of Colton, the state versus Richard Alexander Murdaugh, defendant. And you have down there at the bottom, indictment for murder. And I guess I could make this a little bit larger. All right, let's go to the next page here. And I love that all of this needs to be turned. Wow, there we go. All right, let's take a look at this indictment. Murder, that on or about June 7, 2021, the defendant Richard Alexander Murdaugh in Colton County did kill another person with malice aforethought. To wit, Richard Alexander Murdaugh did fatally shoot the victim, Margaret Maggie Kennedy Branstetter Murdaugh, with a rifle, and Maggie Murdaugh did die as a proximate result thereof, all in violation of section 16-3-10 of the South Carolina Code of Laws as amended. So that is the one for Maggie. Then we have a second one here. I'm not even going to bother turning that over. I'm just going to keep scrolling down. The second indictment for murder, and this is the one that's for the son, Paul Terry Murdaugh. It says here that on or about June 7, 2021, the defendant, Richard Alexander Murdaugh in Colton County, did kill another person with malice aforethought. To wit, Richard Alexander Murdaugh did fatally shoot the victim, Paul Terry Murdaugh, with a shotgun, and Paul Terry Murdaugh did die as a proximate result thereof, all in violation of the same section. So there you have the actual indictments. You're probably thinking, though, well, Sheila, it's been all in the news. Everybody knows about this. The question is, what responsibility does the seller have, and what responsibility does the real estate broker have? Because those are two different parties. We're going to look at where this is for sale, and then we're going to go to the South Carolina law so that you can actually see, yes, this is out there. We're going to see what it says and what it does not say about this property. Have they disclosed anything on this site about the death? This is the company that is responsible for selling the property here. I love the website, just to be honest. It looks like this is primarily what they do, that they primarily engage in sales of land. Great for fishing and hunting, and for those who really like the outdoors. So, they specialize in this. But let me scroll down and see if we can find the property that we're interested in. And to make this easy, what I may do is to simply go to land for sale, South Carolina. And when we scroll down, we can see here the Moselle Farm is under contract. As you see, it is under contract. Now they have a number of pictures here available for people to go through and check that out. And then they've got some information here about it. And then they have this view property. They have, I guess, some pictures there. And let's see what they actually have. Have they disclosed any of this information? They've got under contract, they've got the price per acre. And like I said before, it's farm, hunting land, recreational land, residential property, riverfront, let you know what city, state, bedrooms and bath, who to contact, description. So in the description, here's the thing. If, for those of you who know real estate, and I used to be a real estate broker, What you're supposed to do when you're a real estate broker is to talk about the property. That helps keep you out of trouble, because once you start talking about people, you run the risk of violating discrimination laws. If you start talking about who can and can't live in a property, who might or might not be interested in a property. So you don't do that. You really just talk about the property, because that's what you're trying to sell anyway. And so you want to talk about all of the assets, all of the benefits, all of the amenities, what value the person is going to be getting. And so that's entirely what we expect to see when we go to this website. Let me click back over there. So yes, so this is precisely what he has. He is doing exactly what he is supposed to do. And for those of you who are interested in selling a house, that's what you want to make sure. You want to make sure your broker is representing all of the great things about your property. There are some residential disclosure requirements. We're going to go to South Carolina law on that. But in terms of what he's got in this description, he's got the approximate acreage there, because a lot of times you don't necessarily know exactly, even when you go out and have someone survey the property. So he's got an approximate amount in there, unusually diverse habitat, varying forest types. All of this information is about the property. Productive pine plantations, mature stands, 2.5 miles of river frontage, freshwater fishing, kayaking, and abundant deer, turkey and waterfowl populations. Like, this kind of property is totally going to appeal to your person who wants to be outside and take advantage of all of this, and a person who wants to get away. It's got 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. It tells you it's over 5,000 square feet, built in 2011. So there's a whole lot of information here about this property. And as you scroll down, you'll see here, it says it's ideal candidate for conservation easement for somebody who may want to put that kind of protection on the land. So he's going even further than that. And then it's got additional information here. This is really good. I think he does a really good job of laying it out. He's showing the tract here, and you can contact him about the property. So this is obviously somebody who knows very well what he is doing with this. He's done an awesome job, I think, in describing the property, the amenities, the buildings, other noteworthy features. Look at that. There's tons of information here about this property. And it looks like there are other tabs here where you can see other things. So we were looking at this to see what kind of disclosure the broker was making. Again, this is not a disclosure the seller is making. This is a disclosure the broker is making. The broker has the website. The broker has the flyer, okay? Requirements from the seller is going to be dependent upon what the seller puts out there. All right, so let's switch over to the actual South Carolina law. Here's our South Carolina law that we want to take a look at. Chapter 50. So this is Title 27, Properties and Conveyances, Chapter 50, the Residential Property Condition Disclosure Act, Article 1. And we don't have to read all of this. We just want to get down to our section, which I've already written down. So hopefully it won't take me too long to find it. I think it's 90. Okay, here we go. And it is termed as psychologically affected property disclosure exceptions. Okay, so we're going to go through this. A, an owner is not required to disclose the fact or suspicion that a property may be or is psychologically affected as described in subsection B. B, a cause of action may not arise against an owner of real estate in a covered transaction for failure to disclose, 1, that the subject real estate is or was occupied by an individual who was infected with a virus or other disease which has been determined by medical evidence to be highly unlikely to be transmitted through his occupancy of a dwelling place, or 2, that the death of an occupant of a property has occurred or the manner of the death, or 3, public information from the sex offender registry as defined in Article 7, Title 3. C, subsection B does not preclude an action against an owner of real estate who makes intentional misrepresentations in response to a direct inquiry from a purchaser or prospective purchaser with regard to psychological effects or stigmas associated with the real estate. So let me break that back down for you, because I know how some of that can sound. So there are a couple of things going on here. So first of all, there's nothing in this law that says you have to go out and investigate. There's no duty for you to go out and find out if Grandma Emma, died in the house or someone else was murdered in the house. There's no duty for you if you don't know that, okay? And you now maybe own the house, or it happened in the past. There's no duty on you. The thing to remember, though, is that section that talks about intentional misrepresentations upon a direct inquiry. Like, that is the phrase that you want to remember. So if someone were to specifically ask, has someone been murdered in this house, or have there been ghosts in this house? Psychologically, those sorts of things, that phrase that it was using, then you cannot lie. You cannot misrepresent what happened. So if someone then asks about that directly, then the truth is the only thing that should be coming out of your mouth, okay? So going back to the website and the information that's on the website, that is a description of the property. There's nothing that says anything like, well, we're not sure that happened there. So there's no kind of misrepresentation going on at all. This broker has done exactly what this broker is supposed to do. So if you're ever in a situation where you become the person who's selling a property and something has happened there, you're in whatever state you're in. Most states now have a law about what you're required to disclose around, whether or not someone died in the property. South Carolina just has its own sort of phrase for this. So now we know the property is under contract still, and it's been under contract for a while. I can imagine there's a lot of due diligence that is involved when you're talking about that amount of money and a property of that size. And you probably want to verify a lot of things. Hopefully you're up to speed now with understanding how disclosures work when there is a death on the property, and that in some states there may be requirements to disclose, and in other states there might not be a requirement to disclose. But in most states, if someone asks you, you cannot misrepresent the answer. So if that helps you understand what's going on with that property, definitely give the video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.